Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Ultimate Doctor Who Marathon, where today we are starting our journey back into the past for The Romans, which is the 11th Doctor Who story. No, it's the 12th Doctor Who story televised, and the 15th. No, the 4th. No, the 15th. 15th of the marathon, starting today on the 20th of June, 2017, with The Slave Traders. And I have to say that this is the best episode. I think this is one of the best episodes of Doctor Who so far. I mean, it's not trying to be serious. It's giving us. It seems like we're in for a very almost a light-hearted romp. I'd say this is probably the best single episode of Doctor Who televised since the Aztecs episode 4. But if we're counting all the marathon, then Farewell Great Mastodon ended, because it's worthy of high praise. It's a really funny opener. We open with a recap of the rescue episode 2, where the TARDIS falls off of a cliff. But surprise, it's not like broken or anything. No. We cut back in, everyone's just been relaxing, and you just have these jokes that they just come on rapid fire between William Hartnell and William Russell, like really gets you in the mood that this is going to be funny. But, and you think, oh, maybe we're going to slow down now, because we haven't really seen much plot. Then it's like, boom, slave traders appear, and they eye Vicki and Barbara, who are also having a really fun time in the marketplace. A musician's in the marketplace, he gets killed. Basically, a lot of stuff goes on that just sort of interconnects, which really, it makes the episode feel like we're in Rome. Everything's plot and all that. It's almost like we're having a comedy, like Barbara and Ian only get captured because Barbara hits Ian on the head by accident in a struggle when the slave traders come at the night to try to get them. Well, the Doctor and Vicki go to Rome, get confused for this musician who gets killed. And now they are going to Rome to play the lyre for Caesar Nero, because the Doctor looks like this musician guy, even though the Doctor can't play the lyre. It's this wacky setup of a comedy of errors that just, with some really funny jokes that hold up even today. They're very much like, it's very situational, like, we're making fun of Rome. It's a lot of fun. And you have this dark undertones with Ian and Barbara being sold into slavery. They are slaves, and they're separated, and it's like, right, we'll try to meet each other in Rome. So I feel like this is really just going to be a bit of a comedy runaround, and it's probably going to be hopefully a really fun story. So I have to say that's just really, it gets you excited and ready to see, right, how are we gonna get out of this one? And the cliffhanger itself is like, hey, it turns out that Nero sent this guy to try to kill this musician. He failed. Now he gets a second chance. But this time he's actually going to kill the Doctor, because the musician's already dead. And the guy doesn't have a tongue, so he can't really say, hey, no, I really killed him, I promise. So it's just this, it's really good. I can't wait to see the next one. So I'll give The Slave Traders a 10 out of 10. Right, so it is the 21st of June 2017, and I just finished watching All Roads Lead to Rome, which continues to be a hilarious romp, as all the parties involved, for the first half of the episode, find their way to Rome somehow, while the Doctor, of course, fights off the assassin in a really good fight scene with William Hartnell, basically, throwing a guy out the window, with a good act of defenestration. It shows he and Vicki in this episode just have this chemistry of extreme, like they just have this extreme chemistry of, we're enjoying each other's company, and we just like each other so much together, so we're just having fun. Who needs anything special? So I really have enjoyed, sort of what's been going on with them in this story. So it really strikes me as it seems to be they're having a lot of fun together. Ian of course, he's put onto a slave ship where he has to row and basically be, a slave like you would, but somehow manages to get to Rome after a storm at sea, we are like 2 weeks into this, like basically, 2 weeks have passed, in which is really, it's a really good way of showing the passage of time. And there's so many points where it's just, well, we're here. Barbara is sold to work in Nero with work in Nero's palace. The doctor, still being all musicians, like, oh, I could never play the lyre. Nero, even though Nero isn't very good at the lyre. It's just he's kind of a liar when it comes to the lyre. Get it? Because it's liars, puns. Yeah, they're bad puns. I know, but still, it's really kind of funny. So yeah, the episode just keeps up the pace really well. This is a story that really knows how it wants to get its stuff done and get things together. It's being just really a fun run around, and I have to say I'm really enjoying it so far. Everything seems to be going towards an interesting thing. You also have the guy that bought Barbara being like, "Oh, doctor, I need to talk to you," or at least Maximus, because his name is Maximus Patelium. Maureen O'Brien is Vicki. Again, is brilliant. Everything's brilliant, and the guy that got to play Nero he's hilarious. I mean, Nero is just he's this fat emperor who's obviously insane. He wants to. It's just a really good portrayal of whoever the actor is that they got him. I have to say, it was really, really, really enjoyable, and I have to say the direction in this episode is excellent. Christopher Barry does a great job of making the slave ship feel like it's bigger than it is, with doing these sweeping angles. And he really does a good way of directing the storm itself. Really struck me out. Like he's cutting through a bunch of stock footage, and obviously now that we have the cleaned up tapes, we can see it's stock footage. But it's really clever how they hide it. They see the stock footage waves, they overlay lightning, and it's all just, it's done really, really well. There's one point where it does do a little foible, but I'm not holding it against the episode at all, because one small little foible in an episode isn't that much. So I think I'm going to give All Roads Lead to Rome a 10 out of 10. And of course, tomorrow brings Conspiracy. Right, so it's the 22nd of June 2017, and I just finished watching Conspiracy, which is the third episode of The Romans, and it keeps up the quality just as well as the other two do. This is looking to be probably one of the best televised stories of Doctor Who so far. Just with the scores that I'm having to give it, you have, of course, all the subplots continuing. Ian and Delos being thrown into the arena at the very end. The Doctor and Vicki trying to get down to the bottom of this conspiracy. The Emperor Nero's Empress Poppaea deciding to poison Barbara, who is now her servant. Her slave, excuse me. But Nero has, of course, fallen for her. And which, of course, has the creepy old man going after her. And it's all played for laughs in a pretty decent way of doing a comedy, because of just sort of how crazy everything has been going for all the characters involved with the story. And I have to say, I quite enjoy the way that everything is directed. The sets, while this one uses this has a lot of running down corridors, a lot of the sets look really, really good. I mean, you have corridors that are very easy to be redressed, and I think there are actually quite a few corridors built. It's not all the same one. It's three or four ones that they can run down and back to, which is actually really good. All making sort of the illusion feel like we are really doing this whole, we're in Rome, let's do this like the Romans do. And I have to say, I quite like that aspect of the episode. It gives the episode a bit more of a feel of authenticity about it, and I have to say, I like how it makes it sort of feel a little more real. Christopher Barry, again, is doing an excellent job with directing the story. He is a very, very good director for Doctor Who, and this is really only his third story, and I don't think The Rescue really showed off his talents as much as it really could have. So you have him really directing really well. And I have to say, William Hartnell here does comedy very, very well. The man has this amazing timing, and there are also these lovely sight gags in the script. Dennis Spooner, he should have tried to make The Reign of Terror a bit more comedic than he did, because that would have definitely improved some of those middle episodes by a large margin. I say there's a point where Vicki poisons Nero. The doctor rushes and say, "No, it's poison." Nero grabs Vicki, like almost like, "Oh, I'm shocked for my life. I wish I could lay hands on whoever poisoned me." It's just gags like this that really, really, it makes the episode work very, very well as a full, well-rounded story, a full, well-rounded installment to the series. And it just seems like we're getting somewhere. Like, you have everybody, Ian and Barbara actually see each other. So, they're probably going to get together and go back in the next episode, and then it'll just be the Doctor and Vicki ending their visit in Rome, figuring out what this titular conspiracy is. That one of Nero's servants, Tullius, is like sort of being like, hey, conspiracy, in sort of a way that's just it's kind of an interesting way of doing it, that you have this idea that it's all conspiring against something, but it's not quite being all. We know exactly what we're conspiring against. That's not really revealed. So yeah, I mean, and with the next episode being called Inferno, I have a feeling that it's going to be a much more of an episode leading towards obviously the Great Fire of Rome, which is what Nero is famous for. So I have to give Conspiracy another 10 out of 10 for being, just excellent overall. It's been a great ride, and I can't wait to conclude this story tomorrow. Right, it's the 23rd of June, 2017, and I just finished watching Inferno, the fourth and final episode of The Romans, and I have to say, it gives the story a very, very satisfying conclusion, probably making this the best Hartnell story so far broadcast on television, as we have what amounts to an excellent episode where the comedy is right and the drama is right, as Ian and Barbara meet up and get back to the villa after Tavius, the man, decides to help them because Pompeo wants Barbara gone, so he decides to be good to them because it's the good thing a Christian would do. And in one shot, without any dialogue, we discover that Tavius is a Christian, and that's why he's trying to kill Caesar Nero, because Nero was an awful person to the Christians. He had them executed and crucified, which is, of course, a very, very, very painful death. It gives a lot of, just that one shot, it gives a lot of added depth to the character, and really makes him feel like he's just more of a character than he was. Well, the Doctor and Vicki get a much more comedic end. The Doctor said he's going to be thrown into the arena to play, and the lion's going to be set in him, so we get the scene with the Doctor and Nero's. The Doctor's like, "Oh, I'd be delighted. I need to find something that will make them really sink their teeth into, make a performance that is to die for." Little jabs like that. And as he's holding his glasses behind him, he burns Nero's maps that essentially say, "Hey, I'm gonna rebuild Rome," which gives Nero the idea to burn Rome. And then you have this great ending where everybody meets up again, and the Doctor and Vicki don't just think, "Oh, Ian and Barbara have just been lying down all while we were gone," so they leave. Then we just leave and we move on to the next adventure. It's a great way of doing the story that it really only deserves a full 10 out of 10. With that being said, The Romans as a story is the first televised story to get a average of 10 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time on the Ultimate Doctor Marathon when we do the next televised story, The Web Planet.